Welcome to the 52 Love Podcast, your show for 52 lessons in 52 weeks. Before we dive in, remember you can find the audio version of this episode, along with the rest of the series, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and Radio Public. And now, here's your host, Ms. Tonya Todd.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the 52 Love Podcast, 52 Love Lessons in 52 Weeks. For those of you new to the program, just bear with me. I'll let you know that the 52 Love Podcast started as a blog series last year. I went through, 52 love lessons and bite-sized bits. And this year it's made the transition to a podcast where I invited different guests to explore the tips each week. This week, the tip is creating a photo collage for your partner, and to help me discuss it is my dear friend, Bob Gratrix. Would you tell us what you do in the industry and how you're doing right now, post-pandemic? Well, it's not exactly post-pandemic, but, we're getting there.
Absolutely. Hi, Tonya. Thank you for inviting me to be your guest on this show. I'm doing well, and I appreciate your asking. I got my second shot about a month ago. It's really changed my outlook on things.
Yeah, you were just saying you're feeling great now.
That we're kind of returning to the light, if you would, and I have a real sense of freedom. I've been a fan of the series that you've created over the last year, and really amazed at the ideas, and also your writing, the way that they were presented and kept up. And I've tried a number of them to weave them into my personal relationship and benefit from it. And also, there's a sense of discovery, behind all of it, behind all these ideas of newness and discovery, and maybe covering new ground in your relationship. So yeah, it's been a real great thing. And with the suggestion that you had for the photo collage, I did have a lot of fun with that. And
did you?
Yeah, I did, because ordinarily I'd like to take snapshots of my lovely wife Norma, who next year, well, by the way, I gotta blow my horn here a little bit. Next year will be our 50th anniversary together as a couple.
That is fantastic.
50 years together with Norma, and I still absolutely love her. I would be lost without her. She intercedes the world for me and makes everything okay. But obviously I would take pictures, just like like anybody would. But when after reading the suggestion you had, I did it with a greater sense of intention and commitment, and it wasn't done like just in a casual, here, let me take your picture, smile, like that. It was like I was really looking for those moments where she always shines, but to find those real special moments when she had like the perfect light and the perfect outfit and the perfect expression. And it was like just going into it with a new sense of intention behind it, and really, through that lens of the camera, really seeing her in a new way. And even after all these years, that's what was happening. I was, I was just in this state of discovery, and it was an eye opener for me.
Yeah, I love that description, a state of discovery. You're capturing just those stolen moments that sometimes people don't even notice anymore. It's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of think of an NPR story that I heard years ago. And it was about a woman that had, I think, 3 daughters, and she lived in New York City. And at Christmas time each year, the Metropolitan Museum of Art would allow guests in the museum until like 1 o'clock in the morning. So you could go there at night. And so she would take her daughters there, and they're on like a 16th century bed. She'd have the kids up on like this old bed, and she would read them a story. And she said that her intention behind that was to, by plan and by design, create a memory for them. And I thought that that's beautiful. And
It
I try to apply
is.
that. I try to apply that to different aspects of my life, and especially to my friends. When I think about special niches that my friends have, I try to, I try to, like, if I discover something that would be perfect for them, I want to bring it to them and offer it to them and gift them with it and have it be something that is really meaningful and special. So
Yeah,
it
you're really
helps me
good
feel,
about things like that.
thanks, Tanya. And it helps me feel like my life is more full and more complete and more, and that I'm doing the things that I wish I could do. And there's a difference there. When you go into life with the courage to try to do the things you wish you could do, and not like fall victim to the obstacles, or the time or the money or the whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah. So
Well, last year, before everything shut down, it was like the year preceding and going into last year, your career was starting to pick up as an actor. You were getting some notoriety,
yeah,
and then everything shut down. So tell me,
yeah.
how did you spend last year? Did you work on keeping your skills sharp? Did you just take some time to yourself? What did you end up doing?
I went to the closest corner, assumed a fetal position, and sucked my thumb for months. actually, actually, it was like kind of like, like heading down the highway and everything was smooth and groovy and stuff, and boom, 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 boom. You got a flat tire and you pulled over to the side and scratched your head and looked and go, oh, well, what do I do now? And I did wind up, like, creatively writing some pieces, and I was invited, or there was a submission that I made with the LVLT, which was their a series of Zoom type offerings that they had, and I wrote up
For those outside of the Las Vegas area, will you let them know what that is?
oh yeah, the Las Vegas Little Theater, like a lot of the small theaters, whom my heart really goes out to, because these guys work so hard and they make so little on a good day, and then to be have to suffer through what they've gone through. But they put out an invitation for written scripts that they could do as part of this pandemic um, uh, um, series, that what's going on in people's lives, what are they, so I made an offering, and the one that I wrote about was, I don't like the way my cat is looking at me. And I tried to adopt a real, like, Edgar Allan Poe type style with it,
Mm-hmm.
about a man he's a cat lover, and he he finds this cat that's being offered in a beat up old cardboard box outside a grocery store, and for whatever reason he's captivated by this cat, and he takes it home and brings it into his house, and the cat, which his name is Scratch, winds up to being like basically a demonic force that that drives the other cats away.
Oh no.
And it winds up and the cat winds up taking over his domestic retreat entirely. So he basically, more often than not, locks himself in his room in fear of Scratch the cat. And
Now, is this a work of fiction or?
I kind of joke. I own cats, and I own them. They own me.
Right. Your cats are sweethearts, though. They don't seem demonic at all.
Oh, they are. But I like to make jokes that they are conspiring and that they're working together, and so this kind of fit into that idea that, like, who sent you,
Right.
type of thing. So that was the story, and the guy basically is trying to find somebody that would be willing to take the cat for free. So a little bit of Ransom of Red Chief in there too, where he can't find anybody to take the cat.
Pass off the demon to someone else.
Really. Yeah, so we had fun with it, and luckily I had TJ TJ, played the script for me, and other people put the video together. But it's great to do that, and I wrote another few scripts of this other thing that I'm doing, which is working towards becoming a better screenwriter. And I feel that like experience is in most things the best teacher. So I go with what I've got, and I put scripts together, as you know,
yes,
Tonya, and so I wrote a number of those. And as a matter of fact, I'm coming out just in the last month. I felt so good about like things opening up again that I wrote a quick script, and I wrote it, for a 4-minute short in a psychological horror type theme, and filmed it just the other day with one of my actress friends, and so that I'm putting that together and editing it out now. It works with a voiceover, and I had a great time making it and learned a lot from it, and also I'm hoping to step more into this horror genre.
Yeah.
Because it gets there's a lot more interest in it, I feel, than the purely dramatic type work that I normally do. So,
well, when you get it finished, send it to me. And you did. You worked on your writing. Like that's how you spent your time in lockdown, is you bunkered down and learned more about screenwriting and filmmaking. But when you get that film finished, send it to me and I'll add it to the show notes so people can watch it.
Oh, great. Well, thank you, Tonya. I will. It's I had a great time. I felt that it was a real something new for me, the way that I did it, and and it's the story. To give you a brief idea, it's about a maid that goes and she cleans houses, and the story that I tell runs with a voiceover where you're kind of inside of her head, and she talks to herself about what she's doing as she's in these houses cleaning, and parts of her past life and how they merge with what she's doing as a maid, and how those two are related. So, and it's also it's like I said, there's a horror aspect to it as well. So,
who's your actress? We should give her a shout out too.
Oh God, she was Kat Marie Rabelski is the person who was the sole actress in this, and I played there was a very small male part in it that I played. But in filming this yesterday, there was one of the scenes that she did that I was so moved by.
Oh, she's great, isn't she?
I was absolutely in tears. I was in tears when she did what she did, and we rolled that in the first take, and she got herself into the space. It was like this explosion of emotion, and she said, "Well, maybe I should tilt my head to the right." I said, "You don't need to do anything." I said, "We've got this. This was."
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Thanks, Kat. Thanks, Tonya. Yeah, I will. I'll send it along.
Very good.
Thank you for asking.
So tell me how your assignment went. How did it go putting together the collage?
Well, I had a huge number of pictures to draw from. Photographs I'd taken, and of course I went to the best ones, that were in the group, and we have one of those photo frames where we have a lot of family things that that rotate through, and it keeps us kind of connected with our family. So I put a lot of them up there, and then I found a little application that I was able to find a heart-shaped pattern that was able to take out of the 40 or so pictures I took, create a heart-shaped collage of all these pictures. Then I sent it to Norma, on her email and stuff, and I just wrote a note to go with it that told her again how I feel for her.
Oh.
Yeah. So I scored points.
Well done.
I got points with her, and she was really moved by it,
That is lovely.
and she loved the note as much as the pictures.
I'm sure personalized it, and
And
just something for her to treasure forever, leaving no
I
question.
hope so. Yeah, and I I really do. I try to never take anything for granted, and certainly not Norma. I mean, life has a way of, it can turn on a dime,
Yeah.
and everything that you love, cherish, just like that when the lockdown happened a year ago, all that was kind of taken off the table. It wasn't a menu option anymore. You couldn't just even go out to see a movie or our beloveds, theatrical productions that I would
Those are the two things that I missed most, is live performances and going to the movies.
And restaurants. I'll throw restaurants in there too. But I did lose over 20 pounds through this exercise intentionally. And that was another thing that I did during the thing. But what I'm saying is, you have to stay awake in your life. Or I'm talking to myself here. I have to stay awake in my life so that the things I cherish and love do not go unappreciated or underappreciated. And that goes with my personal relationships, with the opportunities that I have to create things, the opportunities I have to build deeper, stronger, more meaningful relationships with my friends. And when I say friends, I mean people that I actually get out and see, get out and talk to face to face, and to some extent my Facebook friends. But I always try to, with the people I really am digging, I love to bump them up into, I want to see you, I want to have lunch with you, I want to go to this play with you, I want to do things with you, because it adds depth. And I'm not so interested in getting wider with things, but going deeper is what I'm finding. There's a lot of power and a lot of newness in it. And go deeper with the things in your life that you cherish. Or that's the message to myself. And boy, this lockdown has really hit that thing home.
Yeah, well, I think there's a message for all of us there. Though I do think you're revealing your love languages. You care about quality time a lot.
Yeah, and they mean the most. I mean, to be, in that special time, and you're, when you're with your loved one and your partners and whatever, that's like key. And then also, like, this thing about theater. I mean, God, to have that taken away is just, how did I even survive? Because, like, I see that no matter what side of the stage you're on, whether you're performing or part of the audience, it's like this magical, sacred space that is like nothing else. I mean, regardless of the production values of it, if they were able to spend like thousands of dollars on a custom designed set, or if they've got like a cardboard box, that is covered with a piece of cloth. I mean, that it's still sacred space, and you see the potential and possibility of the imagination fully awakened and fully charged. You see and witness the miracle of the actors playing their craft and their art to creating this world that is like seamless from the reality you experience, and seeing them just wind up sometime in these spaces where you're witnessing it, and it's like they're in another
and if
world.
You're in the audience, you're entwined right in it. You are a part of that energy and that atmosphere, and because of you, that performance will be different than it will be any other night.
Yeah, and that's food for the soul. and spirit.
And a reminder of how
see
you and
that.
I met at a performance.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was, Tonya, I have to admit, I think of you, you are truly a force of nature. You have so many admirable qualities, just as a human being, in terms of the, the self-respect that you have, the way that you're so generous with your skills and your knowledge to plug into so many different communities and help people move along and grow and reach out and achieve their goals.
I'm just returning
or
gifts
get
that were given
closer
to
them,
me.
all the time. And anyway, we Norma and I went to a performance that was at the Velveteen Rabbit, which was Bard at the Bar, and that was like 2 years ago in June, I believe, where you were doing a Midsummer.
Yeah, it had to be
Right.
June because of Midsummer.
Yeah. And, of course, the seating there is so limited. And we were coming in, and there was a lot of the places were taken. The layout of the space is a little bit challenged, but God bless them for having that event.
Yeah.
It's different than anything else, and yeah, that's again going back to like making the best you can with
Right.
what you've got, which is I think is a key to everything. Anyway, to have that space open and have to see the Shakespeare group be able to grow as it has, with your help and Cassandra's and everybody over
Devin
there,
and Greg, yeah,
that have helped keep that thing. Yeah, exactly. You have to think kind of just, somebody just threw their hands off the steering wheel and bailed, but actually that worked out great because it never would have been as good as it is with you. So with Greg and everybody. So anyway, we got into the place and we kind of squished into a couple of seats that were next to you, and and besides that, you're as if you don't know this, you're a very attractive woman.
Thank you.
And so we're there, and so yeah, and so I said, hi, how are you, and started the conversation, and then wow, and then I figured out a couple of minutes later when you clammed up that you were part of the cast.
And I just thought he thinks I'm so rude because I'm ignoring him.
Not at all. I got it right away. But I was like so enthralled with you, and I still am, and who you are. And Norma loves you too. She's wonderful as well. So thanks. So we both, we all made a friend that night, and just in meeting you for the first time, it's like, back then I was putting together short plays and putting them up at the
that's right, Friday, the $2 10-minute plays, is that what it was?
Yeah, exactly. What a bargain that was over at what was the Cockroach Theater next to the Artifice bar. And after meeting you, I had another thing that was coming up there that weekend, with a couple of actor friends, and you were nice enough to come over. I invited you over and said, and I said, hey, Tonya, can we do one of these together? I'd love to do one of those.
The power.
And so yeah. And thank goodness you agreed to do it. So I had the idea for the script, and you helped actually, put the script together, better and improved it. And I'm grateful for that.
I love how open you are to that. I mean, you want it to be a collaboration between your actors. You don't want it to just be, no, these are the words I wrote. You just say them the way I said to say them.
Yeah, I received them from on high, no, it's like, but, and I learned from them. And that's part of my favorite part of the experience in acting is like to work with a cast. I mean, that's where, the deep friendships really take root and take seat is if you do a show and you have cast members, most often, unless somebody's a real jerk, which occasionally happens, but most of the time, you've made a lifelong friend. You did a show together. You did a couple of shows together, and those kind of bonds,
it feels like family.
You had each other's backs,
especially with a play because you spent so much time together.
Yeah. Yeah. So we put a little performance together. It was little, let's say short. It wasn't little. Nothing is little. It was actually quite great. And you were kind enough. I know you were a great person, but I wanted to see how you would be as like a really kind of nasty character.
I assure
And
you, it was a huge
so
stretch.
it was. I had so much fun with it, and you were like sort of this. Um,
You can just say I wasn't nice. I
I don't
was
know
not
how to.
nice.
Yeah, you weren't nice, but I think the story was kind of cool, and I loved it, and it was really great. Yeah, yeah, and so yeah, that's in practice that's just one thing, and then of course you were again like riding into the rescue for a very short film that we did, which was
Oh,
Elizabeth
yeah.
and Stanley, which wound up on, but it was another stepping
Right.
stone for me to put together with you and Oliver Jones in this as our cast, and actually both of you guys contributed to the screenplay for it, and it was great. You played the part of a muse, of an artist muse, of a painter who had kind of like sort of given up, and you just kind of came in to recharge his life, and yeah,
Isn't it
I thought
just
it was a great
amazing
little
watching
film,
your
and
progress
you
over
know,
the
I,
years too? Like you have these bullet points for your career, and you start out here and then you move on to this, and it just gets a little bit better and a little bit better, and look at you now.
thanks. Yeah, and just in the last couple of weeks, I was invited by I don't know how if you or how many of the viewers might know of Suzanne Logano. She's a great artist who's been in Las Vegas for some time now. She's most notably, she does a lot of like body painting. So if you're at events or you see somebody in really amazing
That's
looking
going to be
body
you.
paint, Suzanne is no no not at all.
What did she invite
Uh,
you to do?
it's probably Suzanne. Well, she invited me to act as a master of ceremonies for an
Oh,
event next weekend, next on the 23rd, which is next Friday at the for an event at the Artifice, bar there on Main Street,
yeah, it's beautiful in
on
there.
Charleston. Yeah, and she's planning a Bad Fairy
Ooh.
Ball there, which is it's a costumed event, and I'm going to go there as master of ceremony. And there's going to be entertainment there, and these very special
Mm.
libations that will be there. I don't want to give all the surprises away, but I'll be there as uh, um, a magical, mystical
Ooh, I
mixology
love it.
muse, and so I got to do that, and I'm really grateful to Suzanne for having invited me to take part in that, and also a couple of my film projects that had to go, on the back burner during the COVID time. Those are starting to come out again too, so we're reviving those
Well, that's
to take
wonderful.
place.
Send me all
So
the details that you can, because people can still check them out even after it's passed. I don't know um, where in relation to your Master of Ceremonies event that this episode will come out, but I will aim to have it
yeah,
boost attendance if possible. Send me the details, and at the very least I
well,
can
it'd be
share
great.
it.
All right, sure, I will. Thank you, Tonya. I will. I'll send it to you.
Well, thank
Thanks
you
for
very
asking.
much for joining me on my journey for the 52 Love podcast, and for sharing, about you and Norma and all the projects that you have going on. I miss you terribly, Bob. You're one of those people that, over the last year, it's like
Thanks, Tonya.
we had a nice little, it was just we could see each other from time to time at film events, at theater events. And
I
you are
know.
one of the people I truly miss just being able to spend time with last year. So I'm so grateful to have you on my show. And I appreciate all of the insight that you've given us today. You don't you're one of those people who is already very mindful of how you treat people, but you're also open to trying to do better. And I think that's wonderful.
Thank you, Tonya, so much for having invited me. The feeling's mutual about you. I can't wait to, till everybody is out there, and especially to see you and hopefully work with you again on some projects in
On
the future.
stage or on screen, right?
See where we go. Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and to my wonderful guest, Bob. Please check out his work, watch his movies, give him feedback. That's the way that he grows. And then if you like this episode or you like the series, please subscribe to it, share it with your friends. And until next time, just remember to treat love like a verb.